So, I love comic books. I know I mentioned it several times. I prefer Marvel over DC. But that isn't to say I'm not a fan of DC by any means. In fact, I like many characters from DC. Green Arrow, Flash, and yeah, I'm talking about the comics and the TV shows, though Arrow is basically Batman but with a bow. I also like Birds of Prey, Green Lantern, although I often prefer Jon Stewart over Hal Jordan, and Guy Gardner is a shit Green Lantern, but when he took over the Red Lanterns, ooh. I like their normal leader and his cat as well, Atrocitus. And back on Earth, I really enjoy Red Tornado, Constantine, and hell, I like the comic version of Aquaman on occasion. When it comes to Batman, I like his family as well. Yep, huge fan of Damian Wayne, Cassandra Cain, Duke Thomas, all characters that Gotham Knights should use, but won't. Yeah. When it comes to Batman, though, I got into the character thanks to the animated series. Yeah, the one inspired heavily from the first few live-action movies. This was one of the biggest reasons I gave this game a shot. My friend was telling me about the game, and I figured Batman games were all, garbage. In my defense, the only other Batman game I played was based on Batman Forever, which was a garbage game, one I originally rented, and now it's the only real SNES game that I own. I mean, I have a few on the SNES Mini and the Wii U, but I digress. Besides, it isn't like I enjoyed Batman Forever anyway. Speaking of live-action movies, I really enjoyed Batman 1989, Batman Begins, Dark Knight, and the newest The Batman, which is a longer but fantastic Batman film. Anyway, I eventually was convinced to try the demo of this game, and after loving the hell out of the demo, I did pick up the game and followed the series. So let's start this entire series with the first game. The main villain of the entire story is based around the one Batman villain. So let's do it. Let's take on the Joker! So the game begins and Batman has captured the Joker. Roll credits. Nah, just kidding. Batman drags Joker to Arkham and mentions something is off. Not to quote the animated series, but with Joker, nothing is ever simple. And Batman caught him without much resistance. It's almost like he wanted to be caught. Batman follows him into the Asylum, but soon as Batman isn't right behind the Clown Prince of Crime, Joker breaks loose and goes deeper into the Asylum. Batman chases after him and runs into a large monster beast thing, which dies pretty quickly, and then Joker escapes into solitary confinement, a place Batman can't reach. Batman needs to figure out what Joker is up to, but a corrupted cop kidnaps Commissioner Gordon, and it's up to Batman to follow the drunk cop's breath. Yeah, that one's pretty weird, but eventually the cop is killed, and Gordon leaves a stream of tobacco from his favorite pipe, so Batman can find him. After a run-in with Scarecrow and saving some doctors, Batman saves Gordon and finds Bane in the medical wing with a super criminal who really shouldn't be there. Bane isn't technically insane, so he is supposed to be in Blackgate Prison, not Arkham. I mean, sure, Blackgate had a fire and a lot of inmates, particularly Joker's men, got moved to Arkham, but Bane was thought to have escaped during the fire. Bane is juiced with a steroid called Venom, and a fight begins. After Batman runs Bane over with his car, things start falling into place. The area was run by Dr. Young, a new doctor who was working on something with Patient X, who is now clearly known to be Bane. Eventually, it's learned that Young created something called the Titan Formula, a monstrous version of Bane's Venom Serum that doesn't need a tank like Bane has. Young thought she was creating a cure for dementia, but how the hell she thought a powerful steroid was going to help? What, are brains inflamed when dementia happens? I mean, that could be. It's not like I researched the thing. Anyway, come to find out she's working with another chemist, Mr. White, who indeed turns out to be Joker. She backs out on the deal, and naturally Joker is pissed. Batman heads into the Arkham Mansion and finds Young and her formula, and even deals with Scarecrow again, as well as Mr. Zsasz, a serial killer who just really likes killing. Let's just leave it at that. Anyway, Dr. Young is unfortunately killed, Batman destroys her formula, and heads out to save the Warden of Arkham, Quincy Sharp, from Harley Quinn. Eventually, good old Sharpie is saved, Harley Quinn is defeated, and Batman ends up able to hack into Arkham Network, as well as track Harley's fingerprints to find the Titan stockpile. Batman does indeed find it and destroys it, but Joker got his hands on some of it and takes off to reverse engineer the stuff, while Batman takes on two Titan-juiced goons. Batman then finds Poison Ivy and asks where there may be a cure, to which Batman is then pointed to Killer Croc's lair. Oh boy, Waylon Jones is an animal. And I mean that almost literally. He is a mutated human who has teeth and scales similar to a reptile. They don't often lock him up, they just kind of throw him into the sewers. Batman fights off Scarecrow one last time and goes to deal with Croc, gaining the stuff needed for a Titan cure and trapping Croc in a very clever way. Meanwhile, Poison Ivy is going insane. She's connected to the plants that make Titan, and now she's basically on the juice herself. Using her plants, she begins destroying the entire island. Batman goes to stop her, and after fighting her in a flower mech-like turret, a sentence I never thought I'd have to say, Batman manages to defeat her. Batman then heads straight to Joker, who has now set up a party for him. Joker sends 2 Titan-corrupted cops and goons after Batman, and Batman naturally kicks all their teeth in. Batman gets hit with Titan himself, and so does Joker. Joker transforms, but Batman resists and takes the last of the cure he cooked up. Now only Joker remains. After a horridly underwhelming boss fight, Batman uses an explosive punch which somehow doesn't rip his arm off, and Joker is defeated. Eventually all the Titan-taking goons are back to normal, and for some reason Joker's reversion is more painful than other people. Batman is then off to deal with a bank robbery by Two-Face, while one of the 3 missing villains grabs a box of Titan left over in the river. Whoops. Either way, outside of the following someone's breath thing, I really like how Batman is investigating and doing detective work to learn the plot of the story. The characters are written well, and the plot is indeed something that works with the Batman mythos, but isn't so complicated it scares non-comic fans away. Speaking on the writing, I absolutely love the broadcasts you sometimes hear while moving around the levels. Sure, Arkham is a caring family place, just ignore the dead body in the corner. Speaking on the dead, the game is, at times, emulating a horror game. Seriously, Killer Croc's area is tense and quiet, and the halls are dank as all hell. Scarecrow is part of this too. Scarecrow is a man named Jonathan Crane, who's obsessed with fear, and has a gas that causes just that. This not only gives the game a very creepy vibe when he does attack, but this also is how we really see Bruce Wayne, Batman's normal identity. See, Bruce is doing this due to the death of his parents. He feels super guilty over their deaths despite being a child, and he grieves by beating the shit out of criminals. You see, Bruce's dead parents in the first hallucination, and we relive their death in the second hallucination. This really builds Bruce Wayne as a character where there normally wouldn't be one. The third attack even attacks you. It glitches and restarts your game, making you think that something bad happened to your disk or save data. As for looking at everyone else, I think all the characters look great. Killer Croc is massive, Joker looks fantastic, Poison Ivy probably needs more clothes, but there are only a few issues. The only real character I'm not vibing on is Harley Quinn. I don't like her outfit. I know she's supposed to look like a sexy Arkham nurse, and I don't know, maybe it's just done too much. It doesn't look really good to me. Last, this is the newer version of the game. Yeah, this is the HDMI re-release, and everything looks rather plastic, which is distracting at times. An issue that doesn't exist in the original release, so what the hell? Does bumping to HD mean everything looks plasticky? No, that doesn't happen with other games, but it happens here. Luckily, it's only noticeable a few times, so I don't really think it's the end of the world by any means. But it is noticeable since the game's original release, again, looked so much better. Now, as for the sound direction, there isn't much in music here to talk about. I mean, the sounds in the Asylum are all ambient, you know, like rats going by, intercom announcement. These work really well, but sometimes the lack of music is noticeable, like the final fight with Joker, which has no music at all. The voice work, however, is a bit of a different story. Mark Hamill, the Skywalker man himself, returns to voice Joker as he did in the animated series, and even Kevin Conroy is back to voice Batman. The voice work is fantastic, from Gooms to Jim Gordon. It feels like a more mature take on the animated series, which is awesome. Also, Batman does actually look pretty good here too. I forgot to mention that earlier, so there we go. Batman looks great. Batman especially looks good in motion. Yeah, look at that. I forgot on purpose for a crappy segue. Nice. So Batman's moveset is insane. He fights and counters in normal battle in a way that feels very rhythmic. If you mess up, Batman will often take a hit if you get too punch happy. However, sometimes I swear there's a delay on countering. You have to hit the counter button before a minion attacks, but sometimes it just doesn't seem to work. This seems to be more of an issue when there's a large amount of thugs to beat, and it sometimes seems like it won't work, while other times I have no issues. Batman isn't just combat though, he can also take out some people with stealth. Yeah, if Batman runs into a room full of straps, he goes into stealth mode. You can sneak up on foes and wipe them up silently. You can grab them from vents, hang them upside down from gargoyles, use gadgets in clever ways. This, for me, is the best part of the game. You have so many options, or if you're a basic ass like myself, you can just wait until a thug is alone and sneak up on him. It's like a non-lethal assassination or ninja work. Batman also does have his gadgets, which he collects along the way of his adventure. Batarangs are simple projectiles, but with some upgrades you can throw 3 at a time, have reverse throw, remote control one, a sonic one, all of which mess with goons. Explosive gel takes care of walls and can be placed like mines. The bat claw can remove grates up on the wall so you can get into vents easier. And Batman can handle, the ones on the ground just fine. Eventually the bat claw can take care of breakable walls as well that explosive gels can't be used on. It's basically to, maneuver around things in the air, like walls and vents that Batman isn't, seeing on ground level. It's kind of dumb, but it works. It gives it that Metrovania feel kind of thing. Overall, Batman feels like Batman. Yeah, that's the best way. It feels like Batman. It feels like you're playing Batman. There's a few latency issues, but overall things work fantastically. So I brought up Metrovania, and yeah, this game is an open world, but the entire story is actually very linear. You more or less explore each building separately and clear them out piece by piece, with only 2 buildings being revisited more often, but for smaller tasks. Each building has sort of a boss fight, although I wouldn't call any of these traditional either. The fight with Zsasz is more of a quick batarang throw to save a hostage. Scarecrow is fought 3 times and in 3 different places, and it's more of a stealth level design and not so much a fight per se. Croc is stealth based as well, hiding from him so he doesn't eat you. The only traditional boss fight is Bane and the Titan Goons, mixed in with Poison Ivy and Joker. Bane and the Titan guys are all very similar too. You throw a batarang while they run at you, and then you punch them. Poison Ivy is a bit more involved, dodging her attacks while fighting brainwashed cops and waiting until you can attack her directly. Joker is really lame though. For the final fight, that has been building up all night, as Joker puts it, you barely actually fight Joker. It's just more Titan thugs, and then he fights you on Titan, but it's mostly just dodging him until his goons jump in. He doesn't even fight alongside his goons. Afterwards, you just backclaw him and drag him down and attack him. Sure, while battling goons, you dodge some party-themed gadgets from Joker, but this is lame. Yeah, Joker's fight is the low point in the game here, but having repeat Titan battles that are just like Bane is also kind of lame. I'm also going to call out Poison Ivy's fight here too. The awkward camera angle isn't great, and it makes her rapid-fire pollen hard to dodge. Overall, the levels are fun. There's plenty of different settings and fights with goons you have. But the bosses are lame outside of maybe Scarecrow. I mean, Scarecrow is very interesting and Killer Croc is too, but they're more stealth level and not really a fight per se. Oops. This means that stealth and combat is all you're really seeing outside of exploration. And this can be a bit repetitious since boss fights aren't much to look forward to. It doesn't break up the monotony much at all, and that's kind of problematic. Luckily, outside of the main story, there is plenty to do. Even in the main story, the Riddler somehow got out of his cell. The Riddler is a quizmaster who tests people's intelligence and often very deadly traps and plenty of dead victims. However, here he's kind of like the evil Easter Bunny. Sad too, considering when you're not played by Jim Carrey, he's my favorite Batman villain. But you don't really see him here. He's in charge of your side quests. You have trophies of his hidden around. You can find audio tapes of Arkham patient interviews, giving you insight on certain criminals. You can break Joker teeth, find mysterious Spirit of Arkham recordings, or you can solve riddles by taking pictures of cool shit in Arkham Asylum. Clayface in his cell, a neat poster for the Iceberg Lounge, and some newspaper clippings on villains like Prometheus and Firefly. These unlock many profiles to read up on. The trophies unlock character models to view, sometimes, and some of the trophies unlock challenges in Challenge Mode. Challenge Mode is a mode in which you can redo certain fights or stealth rooms with some extra conditions and points. Think Arkham Asylum, but in arcade format. You can play as Batman, Armored Batman if you beat the game, or in some versions of the game you can even play as the Joker. He's awkward to control, but he's here. He is a PlayStation exclusive for some time, which I thought was kind of dumb since Xbox owners didn't get anything special at all. Anyway, back on the main games, you can beat all the Riddler challenges, which ends up with Batman hacking Riddler's location and getting him arrested again. Yay! You can also solve some mystery of the Spirit of Arkham, which is basically finding all the recordings and figuring out who the Spirit actually is, as Arkham has been long dead. So, obviously he isn't leaving these recordings, especially since some of the recordings talk about things like, oh, Killer Croc and Poison Ivy. Yeah, somebody's leaving these. Overall, I think this game holds up very well. There's a few issues with gameplay and looks that the re-release brings to the table, but this is still a very fun game. I think the biggest issue here is the level design. There's very little that you're doing outside of beating up thugs and sneaking up on thugs. The only time the levels have any variety is when you're dealing with Scarecrow or Croc. Even the boss fights are a bit similar and often just Batman beating up more goons. Since you already beat up waves of goons outside of the boss fights, having the boss fights be even bigger waves of goons just kind of drags the game out. Everything else is fantastic though. I love the writing, the visuals, and voice direction. The gameplay is fantastic, and the Riddler challenges are busy work, but you unlock a lot of extras in doing them. Overall, I think Batman Arkham Asylum is great. A solid 8 out of 10 to this day. The next time we meet up with the Caped Crusader, though, will most likely be a Let's Play and then review of Arkham City. But if asked, maybe I can review another Batman game in between all that. Who knows? Anyway, if you liked the video, please like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. It really helps my videos out. And, yeah. If you guys want more details into, my revisit in Arkham Asylum, there's an entire Let's Play dedicated to this game. So if you want more details on why I gave it an 8 out of 10, why I think it's great, go watch that Let's Play. I try to talk through most of it, but sometimes I'm concentrating, and I know that gets a little boring. I apologize for that. But I talk about many other comic book characters like Roy Harper and, Cassandra Cain and a lot of just comic book goodness. But till next time, take care, my minions. Okay, I can't do the Joker cackle to the loudest extent. Sorry. Bye.